And welcome back to the Kyle Suchland Show. Thank you guys for joining to us. Hope everyone had a fantastic week. I'm in a great mood because I played golf today. So, as you know, as you guys are watchers or listeners of this show, you know my sole mood is dependent on did I play golf today. If you can answer yes to that question, it means Kyle's in a great mood. If you can answer no to that question, you can guess probably no. I'm probably a little irritable, probably a little testy, as I didn't play golf today. But today, my friends, is not one of those days. We played golf today. We're playing golf tomorrow. So happy times. We will today, let's go over the topics really quick. Clean break. So let's go over the topics really quick we're going to cover today. We'll talk a little Doral Cadillac Championship. We will talk a little F1. We will kick it to a major interview that we did with Brandon Holtz, 2025 Mid-Am champion. Participated in the 2026 Masters just a couple weeks ago, and right now is prepping for the 2026 U.S. Open. Fantastic interview with him. A lot of interesting insights into Augusta, and a lot of interesting insights that he shared with his family, and along with his prep for the U.S. Open. So give that interview a watch. Highly, highly, highly recommend. And then we will, on the back half of the show, we will preview Truist Championship, maybe finish off our F1 talk a little MLB. We will do our Crumb Bum of the Week, and we will do our Movie of the Week. So, great show for you guys today. But first, you know what it is. Hit the intro. All right, welcome back, everybody. This week, the PGA Tour was out at Doral for the Cadillac Championship. And I think we talked about last week, Cadillac Championship is the first event, or the first elevated event in this field since 2016. So the last time they played there was a WGC, not an elevated event. And a little interesting tournament today. Congratulations to Cameron Young. Came in today, kind of one of those boring Sundays that I've talked about in the past, where the leader's up 5 strokes on a Sunday and pretty much plays well on a Sunday, and no one plays much better than him. And we kind of go. So not a bad day to be playing golf and to kind of watch the highlights of the tournament today, because it was not much craziness, I would say, happened today as it's happened in past weeks. We didn't have any Jacob Bridgman's hitting the ball on Pebble in 18, or we didn't have any playoffs like we've had earlier this year. So not the craziest of tournaments. But Cam Young really cements himself. So as I would, we're gonna go to the big board in a little bit here, and we'll talk about that. But he's cementing himself as a fantastic year. Preview for the PGA Championship. I don't see who's beating him unless Rory and Scotty really look good these next couple weeks here. Or Scotty's not even playing. He is looking great, and I would love to see him when he get a major. They were talking about on No Laying Up. Shout out my friends at No Laying Up. They were talking about how he put about 9 months ago. He put a new ball into play, and since he put a new ball into play, that was pre-Ryder Cup. Now remember how well Cameron Young played at the Ryder Cup this year. So Cam Young's having himself in 9 months, and is there a little ball change there? Little mental, get a couple wins under your belt and start getting the momentum under him? I think so. So Cam's having a great year, another victory. He will be moving up on Kyle's big board this week. Shocker. We will get to that. But, I don't know. Not many players are playing better than him right now. So, Doral. So, I think, field size of Doral this week. The TV the TVs were not showing a lot of people there. It's kind of weird. It kind of looked empty. You know, one of the shots they showed of Cam Young, it was like, is this Thursday? Like, I mean, I only watched the highlights, hand up, right? But like, it did not look like a Sunday at an elevated event. And now, you know, there is a lot going on in Miami, right? We'll get to the F1 race that was, I mean, not very far not very far away, and it's probably pulling a very similar tax bracket away, especially to some of these events, but not to the people that are following them. So a little interesting there, right? Well, we'll talk about the rest of the field, and then I really want to talk more about, you know, is this a time for Doral? You know, it feels like it's a little out of place, to be fully honest, right? This feels like you should be pre-players. It should be maybe in, you know, we're going back to Florida. We just left Florida. It seems like great. I'm sure this obviously Cadillac came in with a bag and dropped it on the PGA Tour, and they're not in the business of saying no to money this time. But definitely seems odd. I would imagine they want it at the same time as the F1 race. Just for a marketing standpoint, that's great for them in terms of activation. They kind of own the news of the week then in terms of Cadillac of having it at the same time as the F1 race. The first F1 race in Miami, or the first USA car racing in Miami for the first time. So I'm sure for them that was what kind of was going through their heads. But interesting timing for the event. I don't know if this is really when it's meant to be in the calendar year. The PGA Tour talked a ton about how they wanted to be in major markets, right? Major markets. But when you're in major markets, you're competing up against the major events. We're not in some no buck-ton Iowa, right, where there's nothing to do besides look at corn. Shout out my people from Iowa watching. But you're in Miami. There's a F-ton going on in Miami right now. One being an F1 race for that weekend, the only F-time F1's there. And then two, it's Miami in May, right? It's 90 degrees. And it is a major city, and you're going to have major people, major issues. You're going to have major, I don't want to call them distractions, but major competition. That's a better word. You're going to have major competition for your event. And if you're not promoting it, we're always missing events. It's not like we have some crazy awesome event here. It's not a major. So it's like, do these smaller, mid-sized events, do these work in these? Like, you know, they're talking about how we need to be in major markets. Do major markets, there's too much going on for people to be at the golf course. It clearly was not a well-attended event as we've seen simply 3 weeks ago. Now it's the Masters, but it's 20 deep, right? I mean, seems like you could have walked up to any rope today and just looked at anybody. It's not like there wasn't 20 deep at any time. It wasn't too deep at any time. Interesting, right? Interesting week. Great week for my boy Justin. Great week for my boy Jordan Spieth. Jordan looked great. Jordan looked really good going into the weekend, and then played like shit on Saturday. I think he was 3 over on Saturday. I think he was 9 over the tournament, dropped him back to 6 after the day on Saturday. And at the time, just had to then, I mean, he played himself out of it really on Saturday, and, you know, ended up finishing with a great, 200 a day, but nothing soon. So Jordan's playing well. I think he's close. A couple blow-up holes like always. He wasn't able to get up and down for the par, save bogey. He made double. I think he made even triple. So we'll love to see Jordan. I love him pulling off a tournament this year. I think he's going to be in some smaller fields coming this summer. Like a TPC Deer Run, right? A Myrtle Beach Classic. I love Jordan pulling off a victory this year, though. So stay on that. When he does win, remember this moment. Justin Rose. So as we get into the more just F1 tie-ins on this show, this is just perfect for me. Justin Rose signed with McLaren Golf. Very interesting. So he put the new irons in the bag. Now, shout out my new friends at Foreplay Podcast. Kevin Kisner talked a ton about how irons, they matter. They don't. Man, the gap between the variance between irons is much smaller between the variance between drivers, according to Kevin Kisner, former PGA Tour member. Right? He was saying you can kind of put new irons in, and you can kind of get away with it being crazy, right? So a lot of people are harping Justin Rose right now for saying, you put in McLaren irons in your bag, or now you're sponsored by them, you shoot T65. I mean, if you're looking at the data, he putted like dog water this week, and he's not using a McLaren putter. So that is, it's the buffoon take is Rose played bad, and he's because he used the new McLaren golf clubs. And it's not. He had a terrible week putting. He actually did not have, in terms of strokes gained, did not do terribly. According to the irons, right? A little bit, but when you putt like that, you're gonna obviously not use, you're out of the tournament, right? So you're gonna have to aim for pins as of Sunday, right? There's no cut, so he's at the point. As Saturday and Sunday, he was just aiming at pins, so you're gonna expect his strokes gain to drop a little bit too. So I would not, is Justin go down in Kyle's big board? He's at 5. Now, we'll see next week, right? We'll see the PGA Championship. That's obviously going to greatly impact the big board. But I would say it's not like a bunch of the other guys played their faces off either. Cameron Young, Fleetwood, Morikawa is playing very hurt. And let's greatest and talk about Morikawa this time too. So, definitely they showed multiple clips today of him on the coverage of just he looked like he's in pain walking and moving, and he's doing the back thing where he's not like bending at one thing, he's bending with his whole back and like a position. It's like there's like a board attached to his spine right now. So T62, I mean, +1's pretty gritty from him to do that. I mean, he's obviously fighting through injury, but at what point do you just sit down for a month and get healthy? It almost seems like, but who knows? Maybe he's not that bad. Maybe I don't know what I'm watching, but it seems like he was T62. He was struggling a little bit. Wouldn't be surprised if he drops out when one of these other events coming up. After the PGA Championship, maybe even takes a break before the U.S. Open. Great week from Alex Fitzpatrick. Shout out Alex Fitzpatrick. The media, the doofuses on the media that don't know anything about golf were being like, oh, Alex Fitzpatrick, his brother just got him, put him on his back and brought him to the championship. No. If you watched that last week, he was kind of carrying Matt a couple for some of those holes, right? I think he had 10 birdies in the last round. He's playing some golf, and I think I was listening to more podcasts this week, they really talked about how well he did play in that. And then this week, I mean, talk about, hey, you probably saw some of those things. Him being Alex, me being Alex. Like, hey, I saw some of those things, and he's like, puts his nuts right on the table. Top 10 at an elevated event. Beats a lot of guys that were probably thinking, is this guy belong to the PGA Tour? A lot of people in the media are having to backtrack right now, saying, "Oh, is Alex Fitzpatrick belong?" Yeah, Alex Fitzpatrick belongs in the PGA Tour. I think we've been obviously known that for a while now. He's been playing well in the DP World Tour. But this week proves that, hey, he's got the stuff. Now, we're not saying the Doral with Blue Monster was some Augusta National level test, but T9 at an elevated event is no slouch. So I don't know why these events don't have cuts. It's kind. I mean, I do know, right? I do know in terms of mentally, I understand. What's that word? I do know, I do know. Okay, hold on, people. We're going through this one here. I do know, and I do understand that, and I understand why there's not cuts, right? I understand that. They want to see if Jordan or Justin Thomas is going to get cut. The guy that has tickets for Saturday and Sunday that's the biggest Justin Thomas fan is not there, and he's not, or he doesn't even show up, right? So I understand why they do it, but it's so sad to watch these guys tee off on Saturday, back 20 shots. Like, these guys are at 15 under, they're +2. They're not going to make up 25 shots today. You mathematically have a 0.00000 repeating to a billion shot of winning this tournament right now. Go home. Go practice. I mean, maybe some of these guys are using his practice time and it's practice rounds for some of these guys. I hope so, because at this point, once we can calculate that you have a 0 to the billionth power of winning a golf tournament, I mean, let's just have some fun. Like, give the guy a beer. I mean, let the caddy hit some of the putts. Make it, that should be live. Once a guy is mathematically out by a million strokes, the tournament now, they get a live thing next to their name, and now they're competing as a team event in live. And it's skins game. And that's for the guys that suck. So, PGA Tour, shout out Birdie to Bogey. You guys can have that idea for a nominal fee, just $2 to $5 million. Let's go to Kyle's big board. So, going to the big board. Power rankings of the year so far right now. Rory McIlroy 1, Scotty Scheffler 2, Matthew Fitzpatrick 3, Cameron Young 4, Jay Rose 5. Followed by 10 other people that I don't want to name because that's not great podcasting. I'm inclined to make a switch. Okay? Drum roll, please. Congratulations. Congratulations to Cameron Young on officially moving up to number 3 on Birdie to Bogey's power rankings. He is right below Mr. Rory McIlroy and Mr. Scott Scheffler. So we're gonna give the old college try, and we're gonna see which one of these. Now Scotty's not in here. If Cam beats Roy this week convincingly, I don't think you can take it over this week. You got to be doing a major. Cam can jump. If he wins a PGA Championship and Rory, let's say, misses the cut, looks like absolute dog water, and if Scotty misses the cut, there's a chance Cam moves to 1, not very long. I don't see that happening, to be fully honest with you guys. But there is a chance that does happen. So, big week for Cam to move on the big board. Shout out him. Congratulations. I'm sure that is an honor of a lifetime. You wear that with pride, Cameron. You moved up on my big board. Shout out, Cam. Watcher of the podcast. Yeah, he reached out, and everyone's like, no, he's not. Yeah, he reaches out to me all the time and says, hey, I love your podcast. Thanks, Kyle, for doing what you're doing in golf media. It wouldn't be golf media without you doing it. Thank you. Shout out Cadillac. So, big week for Cadillac. Obviously, like I said, I'm assuming being in the marketing mindset, having a marketing degree, spending a decade in marketing, there's some dumbass executive said, hey, you know what if we had the championship and the first weekend that we do our F1 race in Miami and we just make that a massive Miami brand activation? We bring all people in. And that lit up a bunch of people's brains. They're like, wait, we can do one activation, and instead of doing 2 massive money spends, we can just own a cycle of media for 3 days. That's how these people think, right? And it's like, well, we'll own the entire weekend in Miami. We'll own F1. We'll own golf. The entire world is ours. Not like the worst of thinking. I don't know if that totally works, but it is what it is. So, big race this weekend in Miami. We are going to talk F1 very quickly, and then we will go right to our interview. Because how long did I wax not bad, 20 minutes. I thought that felt a little bit longer. We didn't do picks. Fuck. Picks. Cadillac. I picked Scottish Scheffler to win. I'm gonna give that a big old second. Top 5. Pick Cameron Young plus 265. Win. First place. You're welcome. That's a plus money winner, people. You're welcome. Okay. Top 10, Justin Rose lost. Sorry, T65. Top 20, Russell Henley, T49. 1 and 3. Yeah, no, not my best week, right? Not my strongest week. We are going to retool, refocus, re-energize, and we will be back next week. So you wait, because we are going to figure this out, people. Like I said, still a 63% win percentage, so we're still smooth sailing across the ocean right now. The boat's getting a little rocky, but there's no China falling off anything. Yeah, this is fine. 63% win percentage, we're doing totally fine. But we lose again like that. If we get to 50%, there's going to be dishes falling from the cupboard. Let me just tell you that, okay? We're going to be on a choppy gambling sea here, and our boat's going to be doing one of those bum, 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 and there's going to be dishes falling. There's going to be greenhorns thrown up all over the deck. I'm going to be screaming at the deck, clean up that thing! All sails ahead! And the guns and the cannons at the starboard on the left. We're in a cannon fight. Sorry. I understand anyone that wants to turn on the podcast right there. I did drink after that. Cut that. We'll talk Truist on the other side of the championship. So let's do F1. So F1, we're back. Like I said last week, it was very nice to have it back after a long ass break, 5-week break. And I say that having never watched a season before, but just getting into it this year. So I've went roughly 33 years without it. But 5 weeks felt like a long time without it. But I went 33 years without it before, so I feel like I could probably go maybe, a couple more weeks without it. But it was very exciting to have back, and it did remind me how much glad I got into this sport, because it is very, very exciting to watch. And I was loving watching it not at the middle of the night. It was fantastic for not to be at 1 a.m. and I'm like sitting there rubbing my eyes trying to stay awake to watch it, that it was during the day. I think they moved it up because of rain. One of the qualifying the other day started at 10 a.m. Like, I was watching it with a cup of coffee. It was fantastic. So that was very nice to watch it in a time zone that, I'm relatively in. Great weekend, honestly, for McLaren. Sprint win by Lando, second by Oscar, so kind of great sprint wins by them. Obviously, sprint, Lando started in first for the qualifying for that. I think Oscar started maybe third or fourth and came up. So the boys looked fast in qualifying. After 5 weeks, then they talked about the upgrades packages, and that a lot of the teams bought a lockage. I think I saw a thing on Instagram that McLaren was leading with like 11 different packages bought. So they're definitely trying to make improvements on the car, make it faster. I would say definitely paid off. It looked a shit ton faster. And they definitely, so, money well spent from whatever they did. Very interesting on the coverage that they said yesterday at the qualifying on the side. Maybe it was sprint qualifying or the sprint. They talked about they do, one of the shows was the people talking, and they were like, so this 91 degree day, which is very hot for Miami, right? Miami is not only ever got above 100 degrees, right? So 91 is very hot for Miami, very hot for anywhere, honestly, in the United States. They were like, this is the hottest thing we've ever been to. This is hotter than Singapore. This is hotter than Malaysia. So they were talking about how much water these guys are going to be losing on these races because of how hot the cars are and how much these guys they gas. They said Kimi, when he got out of his car yesterday, just looked like he ran a full marathon. He was drenched, and you could that when you could see, it's like, I need to sit down, right? They were talking about how he had that look on his face, like, I need to go lay down right now. I need to go take a little nap. I am exhausted. And anyone, if you ever ran a lot, or if you ever did played a bunch of golf, and you get home and you're like, I am tired, and that's probably 1/1000th of what they felt. So, I can imagine me playing golf and being exhausted. I can only imagine driving in 100-degree heat in a super fast car with your stress levels at 1 million. Probably is going to lose a lot. Probably is going to sweat a lot. So today then Sunday was the race was just now it was about 11 hours ago when it kicked off. It started at noon. Very interesting start to the race. They pushed it up due to rain. Sorry, I don't know why they had to push it up. I said they had to push it up. Pushed it up due to rain that was scheduled to come out. I don't know if it ever did. Very interesting to start. Started off very, very fun, honestly. What I was kind of, what you always want for these first couple laps to start, what you'd expect to happen with some of these. What happens in the F1 game, right, is everyone just grabs up and people are crashing each other, people are spinning out. And that's kind of what happened in today's race, right? It started up. We had a spin out. I think, did Leclerc spin out? He had a great start, though. Leading the first couple laps, Leclerc. Max had a spin out. He started second on the first turn, spins out, drops 8 positions, ends up really with his wheels all back, pointing in the first direction. It's like, whoop, whoop, puts right back on the gas and just starts going. And they were talking about in the post game. It's like, is that good, or is that luck? Is that skill? And I think Juan Pablo Montoya was saying, no, he does it all the time. It has to be skill, right? It's like, if you're doing that once, okay, you're luck. If you do it 3, he said he's done it 5 or 6 times, right? He finds himself back. He knows he feels the spin. He knows exactly when to get it, put himself in a spot, and he doesn't lose. And it was one of actually Max's, the best race I've ever seen Max drive live. Obviously, everything I've ever seen before was Drive to Survive, right? He's a multiple champion winner. This year, he's looked like a little bit of like a, people call him the Lion, right? And here he is dive bombing people, and he's fighting people, and it's like, you haven't really seen that in Australia, China, or Japan. It really hasn't been that Max. And that Max today was that was a great match to watch. Him late breaking to cut corners and then go long, so people couldn't really get that get the long ways on him and come around. He was racing today, right? And they were talking about there's that, I think the couple, I can't remember anyone else's name besides Juan Pablo Montoya, just because that name is awesome. They were saying that you could see his smile underneath the helmet, and I was like, something's never been more true, where you could literally see this guy lighting up with a smile from how excited he was, just how well he was doing in a race. It was actually, that's what when people, there's a song about him, there's all that shit. That's what people love, and that's what we saw today, and that was awesome. I'm very, very excited to see that go as we go further in here. Lando was fighting for the lead the entire time. Then Lando was in the lead for a little bit of the race. He said he felt like the car. He was mad, honestly. Congrats to the 19-year-old Kimi Antonelli, won again. 3 races in a row. The teenager's winning again, right? Lando felt he had a fast car. Lando felt that he had this race in a really, really good spot. And he was mad after the race, right? He felt that this race was a close one, that he really should have had a chance to win. Rightfully or angrily by him, but a nice podium by him. Third straight race win by Kimi. I think one of the things I talked about last week was, how is Kimi going to handle, a month, a little 5 weeks leading the championship at 19, right? I'm sure all the media, all the marketing days that Mercedes makes him do, right? Now he's leading the championship, right? So I'm sure it's a lot different, him being a kid driver, essentially, a teenager driver last year, and then him being a teenager driver with the World Championship lead is a whole different story, I would imagine, right? So I would imagine the marketing, all those things, it's probably drawing a lot more attention just because you're talking to potentially the world champion right now, right? And at maybe 20 years old. I don't know when his birthday is. But insane win by him. I mean, so we're in Miami now, right? I mean, he legally cannot drink that champagne, right? I'm sure there's laws and there's things around it. His dad's there, I'm sure whatever. There's some things around it, but it's insane. Like the man that won the F1 race cannot go to the store and purchase that bottle of champagne that he won. Kimi tonight, if he wants to celebrate, there's bars that they will legally not allow him to go into because they'll lose liquor licenses, right? Can he be in 11 tonight? It's insane. It's insane that he is that young and just beating the doors off these grown men driving these F1 cars, and these guys that have been doing it for as long as he's been alive, and he's beating the brakes off them right now. There's something about being too young and dumb to know what you're doing wrong, and there's young and dumb enough to know that, hey, I'm just gonna drive fast, and you're never seen more of it right now. So if you have not watched F1 this year, if you have never watched F1 before, I'll put it very simply: a teenager is currently in the lead for the World Championship in a sport that spends roughly $2 billion a year in development. Billions of dollars are spent on this year to develop cars versus people. Billions of dollars. I think they said a team spends $250 million and there's 10 teams, right? So just doing the math of that way is how much is spent on R&D. And there is just a teenager that is a high schooler should be, a freshman in college is just beating the brakes off all these people, right? I mean, most of these people have been driving in F1. Some of these people have been driving in F1 before when he was born. Fernando Alonso. Shout out Charles Leclerc. Terrible final lap. Had a podium all day long, all effing day long. Last lap, spins out. I don't know if it was his fault or what happened. He hit a spot or something. And then, I don't know why. He just cut a bunch of corners. And then he just was losing position. Now, I don't know if it seems like his car maybe something. He was just trying to get it over the line to get some points left. And not, lose all of his points for the day for Ferrari. But not a great day for Charles. especially post-race. I mean, honestly, a great 56 laps from Charles. The 57th lap was not great from Charles. And then you have another penalty then for even cutting the corner. So I think he finished T8, or not T8, finished in 8th. So not great from Leclerc. Would expect Ferrari to maybe show a little bit stronger come in Canada. It sounded like afterwards they had I don't remember the team principal's guys on, but it sounds like they were expecting a massive upgrades package in Canada in a couple weeks. So Cadillac and Aston Martin, the pillow fight, the long-winded pillow fight at the end. It seems like the pillow fight, it's like today we fought and we were able to hit each other with the pillows long enough that all of the feathers did not leave the pillows. We were able to have a long enough pillow fight, and we were able to fit the whole time. But then we looked up and we were like, oh, you guys are bare knuckle boxing? I thought this was a pillow fight. And it's like, oh. So, good job, boys. Good job, though, guys. Good job, Cadillac and Aston Martin. You guys are getting faster. You guys finished a race. Both of you guys finished a race. That's not too bad. But it's gonna still be a pillow fight. So hopefully buy some fucking upgrade. Our Cadillac bought a bunch of upgrade packages. I don't think Aston Martin bought any. So it's hopefully they get faster. I would say I wrote down Kimi is getting very hard to root against. He seems everything he talks about. He is so humble, and I love a guy that's animated. I love a guy that's he seems like when he's showing something and he's in this, he seems like you could see it on his face of what's going on. And that's awesome. Right? I'm sure that will be trained out of him and media trained out of him eventually. But that is just, I think, is one of the greatest things in sports when you see some of these kids that are doing these things and they don't super understand or, that have the media training yet to maybe not have some of these, knowing that you have to give the cameras reactions. But you can just, he was having some great reactions of, they do this after the race. They just bring him the podium into this room, the champagne room, and show them highlights from the race really quickly of all the stuff they missed because they were racing. Very cool. The PGA Tour should do this for the winners. It'd be a very cool video if they had whoever won from the final round of maybe some shots that they've, I guess they're usually playing the final group with other winners. So it's not, scratch that PGA Tour. You don't need that idea. Russell didn't play. Russell didn't drive super great today, but got a bunch of positions kind of at the end of the race. He was one of the ones that benefited massively from Leclerc doing the spin out and then kind of losing pace. He looked like a slow week. They kind of said that he doesn't love this track. He's not a big fan of this track. It's like, well, dude, okay, drive fast. Who gives a shit? So, was not expecting, he was my pick to win the championship. And now he looks like the number 2 driver, whereas I think he's supposed to be the number 1 driver. So thought he'd have a little bit stronger of a week. And now we have no race till the end of May, the last week of May. I think the same week as the PGA Championship. And then we are in Monaco after that. So I'm excited. People told me Monaco is a little bit boring. Shout out Brian. But I'm excited for my first Monaco experience and see what that looks like. So let's see. Was that 20 minutes again? Come on. Oh, I'm getting good at this, people. I'm getting really, really good at this. I'm getting really spicy right now. That was almost exactly 20 minutes. Just like I was trying to do. All right. So that was the start of the show. On the back half of this show, remember, we will, after the interview, we will talk a Truist Championship preview at Quail Hollow next week. We'll talk a little Cubbies. We'll talk some LIV drama. And then we'll talk a little about a little grab bag of shit and then do our crumb bum of the week and get out of here. So we will now kick it over to the interview. Remember, interview with Brandon Holtz, the 2025 Mid-Am champion. And he played in the 2026 Masters, hoping he's going to play in the 2027 Masters, and then he will be playing in the 2026 U.S. Open in about a month here, and then or a month and a half in Shinnecock. So very thankful. Huge shout out to Brandon Holtz coming on the show. We very, 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 very much appreciated that. That is amazing. As we try to grow the show and bring you guys some insightful worlds into the golf world, and it's rather than just having my friends on. So hope to have more interviews exactly like this. But let's kick it over to Brandon now. Whoosh.
Right. Yeah. No, there was no golfing today. It rained pretty much all morning.
No, and I played yesterday and it was freezing. So I was like, I'm like, where is this 80s? I loved this 80s. So it was great. Sure. So. Well, thank you very much for joining. We have Brandon Holtz, the 2025 Mid-Am champion. With that, what did I just do?
Lost you.
Man, that's great job by me there. Middle of the intro, and you earned a spot with that into the 2026 Masters and the 2026 U.S. Open. So,
correct.
Just wanted to start of how was it? I get overall, and then want to get a little bit into your background at ISU. I had some of my friends and family went there, so love that part of it too. But just how was it?
Sure.
Kind of overall being at the Masters.
I mean, expectations. You don't really have any. I mean, a little backstory on me, and I don't know if you heard, but my dad won badges back in 2004 in the Masters lottery. So we kind of had an idea of what we were getting into, but as far as from being behind the ropes to inside the ropes, oh man, it was, multiply it by 1,000, right? I mean, it was incredible, just the access we got to all of the facilities, and just being there, it was incredible. No doubt.
I mean, it sounds like from every story you hear, it delivers on all expectations, which is just amazing to hear. It's like Disneyland, and I imagine was that drive down Magnolia Lane, or do you drive down Magnolia Lane for you guys? Is that you even go down there? Is that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, that was our entrance. Is right now Magnolia. So, and then just for the family's sake, anybody that rode with me down Magnolia, they got to see it all too. So
that's.
I got to share a lot of that experience with family and friends.
Too cool. And I would imagine that's for any people that are non-golfers. It's like seeing, Disney Castle for the first time as you walk down, of how cool that situation is.
Right.
So I wanted to just start on your, what I love is my brother went to ISU. His wife went to ISU. I have a bunch of friends. Sure. We went to ISU all the time. So I love that. I saw that story and was immediately, I was like, I'll throw you in the Masters Fantasy app for that. So I saw you played basketball at ISU. Did you play all 4 years basketball? And what was that transition like to golf then from basketball?
I did play. And, golf was always kind of secondary.
Okay.
Basketball was number one growing up. I just liked the pace of play, the physicality.
Mm-hmm.
It just was kind of what I wanted to do.
Easier to play, with all your friends down, too.
Yeah. No, and then you find out real quick. I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't the strongest. Definitely wasn't the quickest, and I couldn't jump. But I knew, I kind of knew angles.
Yeah.
And I also knew, how to shoot it, and that was my forte. I figured out the angles. I could shoot it. Yeah. No. Like I said, growing up, playing basketball is number one. Golf is always secondary, and I like the physicality. I like I was just kind of naturally better at basketball than golf, and then as I got older, and then realized that got to college, was playing, started my freshman year, got a new coach, and then wasn't playing much, and then I wasn't playing golf on the side very much at all, but when I got done playing basketball, I still had that, that competitive bucket to be filled. And, I looked at golf as maybe an outlet. So I started getting a little bit more serious with golf, and kind of here we are today.
That's amazing. I would think I was expecting you to kind of say, hey, I would, between practices, I was out at the course, shooting around, and that's it's amazing to hear that, you were so dedicated to basketball, and that dedication. Obviously,
you don't really have a choice.
True. I guess a college athlete, right? I'm thinking of playing my high school basketball and get between obviously, but that much different.
Right.
So I read also that you took, was it 5 preview trips to Augusta before the
Yeah, so
Masters?
you get 5 pre-practice rounds, and in those pre-practice rounds, you can play as many times as you want
Wow.
in
Okay.
the day,
In
right?
the day. Okay.
Yeah. So my kind of routine was in the morning I'd play 18 holes, go have lunch, and then play another 18 in the afternoon,
That's
and then bounce around maybe the par 3 course or go to a
yeah,
hole
yeah.
that you kind of wanted to spend a little bit extra time on. So yeah, I mean, you get a lot of golf in those days. I mean, you're moving. There's a lot of
Yeah.
walking.
Yeah, and imagine. I mean, those days. How do those compare to being at at the Masters week, where there's was a little quieter? I would imagine they're just with the course.
It is. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot different when you see because they take. I mean, they take all the stands down. They
Oh,
don't.
okay. Yeah,
Those come
yeah.
up. Those come up and down every year.
Interesting. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I haven't really thought about that. You don't really see pictures of it like that. So.
no, and you don't. And I'm kind of limited as to what I can say.
Okay. Yep.
Uh,
Obviously, don't want to get you in trouble with anything like
yeah, no, sure,
that.
but they it's honestly it looks like a whole different golf course when you can kind of see all the green.
Interesting.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, and then when you throw in all the extras, the stands and
Scoreboard and
exactly,
yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So
Well,
it's a whole different experience for sure.
very cool. I saw that and I was like, oh, that had to be cool just to be on property for 5 separate times. I guess you had to play the course multiple times in that and just being to that too.
Right.
I think what was the, so I guess what was that kind of, did you have that holy shit, it's Augusta, it's the Masters, did you have that moment the first time you went for the trip, the first time at the Masters, what was that moment?
Yeah, again, it was a little different for me just because I've been there.
Okay, yeah, so
So
you had that from childhood, so
yeah, that like sticker shock wasn't there, but
mm-hmm.
like when I'm driving down Magnolia and I'm in the player's car and I'm like, oh, holy shit, this is real. That was definitely a moment.
That is too cool. So I guess then going on to the week then, so the dinner on Monday night.
Mhm.
I saw a great wardrobe. I saw your great video too of going to pick out the wardrobe. Great job on that. That was a great insight.
I forgot. I guess I didn't get the memo of wearing dark.
Yeah, it said you had a nice you were the only one that looked like a Augusta. You had the nice the bluer, the khakis. I liked it. It was
There you go.
it's a nice look. But how was that dinner? I guess there's a lot of green jackets. Obviously, you don't really you see pictures of the people you guys walking in, and that's kind of all you hear. Obviously, don't want to get you in trouble with anything, but kind of
Yeah, no, it was good. No, it was a mix of some members and then some of the supporting cast that makes the tournament run. And then yeah, I mean it was and honestly I don't know what I can or can't say about it all, but it was a great moment for sure. I mean, I one to cherish, and got a little gift getting out of there.
very cool.
Um, so it was cool. I mean, the whole experience was one of kind for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And I guess going down to that gift aisle, did you visit the merch stand? Did the family visit the merch stand? Did you guys haul it up? Did you end up leaving with bags and bags and bags?
Yeah, that was a thing. We have access to the the Augusta Pro Shop, which has a
Okay.
lot of
Yeah.
some of the items from the official or the spectators Pro Shop, and then we have some items that you cannot get in the
The
spectators Pro
normal. Okay.
Shop. So my wife, she decided to find some of the items you can get and can't get, and she was bouncing back and forth, and next thing you know it, I'm like, babe, you're going to this Pro Shop every day, and she's just pulling things out for us, and I'm like, hey, easy
Hey,
now.
you gotta. I mean, I feel like it's one of those times. It's like well, I could get this next time. It's like, oh yeah, next time you with the Min-Am, you might as well live it up this time, right? It's like if it's the time you're gonna do it.
You know what? It's you hope obviously it's not a one and done, but I'm a realistic guy. I mean, it's a tough road. I mean, I happened to play good last year at the right time, and obviously I can play a little bit, but it's a lot of timing, a lot of luck in golf, and if any golfer told you differently, it'd be silly. Except maybe Tiger or Rory. These Scotty. These guys are just really, really, really good. Um, but it's at the same time. I mean, you got to have a little luck. The ball's got to bounce your way. It's got to fall in the cup when you don't expect it. And you just again, you got to play good at the right time.
Yeah, and then that sounds awesome that you kind of were, you were fully living it up, living the moment, knowing that, fully it can come again, but knowing that you're here and fully living it. And I think one of the most emotional times of that was seeing your dad on the bag with you.
But
And how great was that kind of living in that moment with your dad, kind of as looking over as you're walking down. How great was that kind of that?
I mean, it was super special. Again, it could potentially be a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I was going to share it with my dad. Full circle moment, really, with him winning the badges back in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
The I got to return the favor. He was always he always had me on the outside of the ropes. I got him on the inside of the ropes, right?
That's too cool.
So that was fun in itself. And then I got my brother caddying for me in the U.S. Open. So
Man, you got my notes on right on here. So
yeah, no, it's a family affair for sure. Because you never know. I mean, I get experience with my dad at Augusta, and now I get to experience it with my brother at Shinnecock at the U.S. Open. So I mean, it's a dream come true for sure.
And it would always be your first time, right? Well, you could always do it again, but at least with your first time, always you'll remember have those pictures of being with your dad, which is, I think a lot of people, that's chill-inducing moments, having your dad on the bag with you playing in the Masters. That's a dream of anyone that's playing, and then anyone that's even a mid-am too that's out there.
No doubt, no doubt. Unfortunately, our last trip there was on Friday.
Okay, yep. Unfortunately, yep.
Walking up the up 18, and it's like, you know what, Dad, what the hell? This has been great, and that golf course is hard. I mean, an Illinois guy playing in April, it's already hard. I tried my best to travel and practice and play, but it's not the same. I mean, I'd like to say, I will say that I'm going to be more prepared for Shinnecock just being in June, because I'll be
warmer.
playing a lot more.
Yeah.
But as I say that, it's pouring down rain, and
yeah, we do. It's
50
Chicago
degrees,
weather. Yeah, I guess Illinois weather. I guess I always,
correct. But it's all the same. I'm 2 hours south of you, so
it's no difference.
Get what you're getting.
Yeah, no, I'm up in Vernon Hills, so not too far from you guys up there. So.
Cool.
I guess that was one of the other questions, is kind of what was your prep then? Obviously, you went to it, but were you beating balls into a screen all where? Were you kind of trying to go and play when it was 30 degrees outside and hit some balls? What were you kind of prepping like?
Yeah, no, I mean, hitting it balls in the screen. Honestly, when it's dead of winter, when it's 30 and not blowing, like, it doesn't feel that bad.
No, it's like, ooh, okay, I could do this. I could go out here for a day.
Exactly. So, and then I had some family in Florida. I got some family in Texas. So I was able to make a couple trips. But, I got two young kids. I got a wife. I got family. And, I can't. Hey, babe, I'm just going to be gone for the month. That just doesn't work out, right?
Yeah,
I got to work.
That doesn't really work with the whole, the family's not going to allow you just to be gone for 6 months at a time to prep for the Masters.
Exactly. But at the same time, I finally got her on board. I said, hey, if this happens again, I've been trying to get her to move south for a long time. But if this happens again, potentially I might have her in the idea of moving. So that I just needed a little motivating, motivating to get back to Augusta and be at the U.S. Open again, but motivating to get us out of Illinois.
Yeah, get some warm weather so when it hits October here and we're freezing, ourselves off,
Exactly.
So I kind of from that you talking about family. I heard this or saw that you had your whole family out there with the par 3 contest. Unfortunately, they didn't show you on TV a whole ton. I was looking for you. I'm going back. I'm putting comments out there like, hey, show Brandon, let's go. But how was that, speaking with having the whole family out there kind of before it got to that very serious moment of Thursday?
Oh, I mean, it was great. I mean, I played with Jason Day and Bubba Watson, two icons of the sport. And, I think Jason's got 4 or 5 kids. Bubba's got a couple. I got a couple. And, our kids are out there playing together.
That's so cool. Yeah.
And I'll never forget. We get up to the first tee, and I'm kind of in sticker shock. Like, what? Here I am playing with these two guys that are, one of the best in the world, and they both hit it on the green. I pulled mine a little left. I'm like, just a little chip shot away. I hit it up to 5-6 feet. Kind of got this downhill slider, and I told my son from the start, like, hey, dude, you're gonna putt every putt, unless it's stupid.
Yeah.
But so I got this downhill 5-6 foot slider, and he walks up there, looks at it, knocks it right in the back of the cup.
That's too cool.
Something I'll just never forget.
No, never.
That's just ingrained in the brain. And, crowd went wild. And, I got my wife caddying. I got my daughter, my 2-year-old daughter. She's showing every different personality she has. She was happy, then she was sad, then she was mad. It was just a lot of, it was just fun. It was just a lot to take in and a lot to just enjoy. And, at the same time, I wish they were a little bit older to understand what was actually happening.
So I saw 6 and 2, right?
6 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the age I imagine, and you said the son is 6, and he was the one
My
putting.
son is
okay.
6. Yeah.
So I'm sure he's taking it a little bit more, but still is those were the pivotal memories I imagine in their life as they get older will be that putting at Augusta National.
No doubt. And I mean, he even put the pressure on me that night. He's like, Dad, I want to go and do that again. Well, we'll see what happens. That's a tough task, but we'll see what happens.
Well, no matter what, he'll have that story for very cool story at the lunch table as he's growing up forever that he'll be able to tell everybody, which is awesome that you're able to give him to that. I guess if I'm a more funny side, so I finished last year at a 10 handicap. Mm-hmm. What would, if you dropped me at tournament conditions, you plowed me out there with the pressure, knowing I'm out there, what am I shooting Thursday out there? 120, 150?
I mean, I can't give you a number. It is, here's what I'll say. It is super precise. If you need a 140 yard shot, if you hit it 139 or 141, you're in trouble. And some of those greens are just holy. I mean, I'm not shitting you. They're just that Thursday was. I think they said Thursday was the hardest it's been in a long time, if not history. It's like I think a scoring average of just below 76, and we're not talking a PGA field. We're talking the best, probably, I don't know, I'd say out of I think it's 88 or 89 guys, they're talking the best 65, 70 in the world.
And it was like, I think it was playing like 2.5 strokes over par over for the first day, which was crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just, it's all you want and more, but at the same time, it's so precise. I mean, you get on the wrong side, which I found myself a lot. Unfortunately, because I'm looking back at the round, I'm like, dang, I don't feel like I hit the ball that bad.
No, not at all.
But it's just you get in the wrong spots or you don't know where to be, and I mean that. And I'm not knocking my dad by any means, and I'm not knocking what our strategy was. That was going to be, my dad and I were going to go there no matter what anybody told us.
Yes.
To enjoy that with my dad, and same with the U.S. Open. To enjoy it with my dad, and the U.S. Open with my brother. That's, the families can't talk about that, right? And we got something to talk about the rest of our lives.
Oh,
with
for
that.
sure, and more, a little bit more than that too. It's all memories forever. Sorry.
Sure, and if I go back, I'm fortunate enough to win and go back of some sort. That conversation will happen, and I think we're all on the same board with let's get a professional caddy, but. No, that golf course is so good and so hard. It gave me a new sense of how good these guys actually are, especially Rory. I mean, you're talking about the toughest Thursday and Friday. They keep saying they got a little easier. I'm sitting there thinking like, well, shit, I'll believe you, but I don't know. And he's got, he's 12 under in the first 2
insane
rounds. Yeah. But I mean, it's just those, again, a new appreciation of how good those guys are, and the, I think it's, I mean, obviously it's some physical with the shot making that they have, but I think it's a lot of mental and understanding where to be, when to be, how to be, why to be, which helps. So, 39-year-old guy that hasn't ever played the Masters before.
You did much better than I would imagine. You're the top 1.0001% of players in the entire world already, so do not feel bad about that. You're doing way better than probably any other 39-year-old in Illinois would have done. So,
hey, it's motivating. I don't want that to be my one and only time out there. So, well, I'm all right with it.
Would love to see you out there next year, and love to have you put you in the Masters app again. That was have you in the fantasy app there. Kind of what was You talked a little bit about your round. Have you rewatched any of the round at all? I think it's one of the coolest things of Augusta or the Masters that they have the app that you can rewatch every shot. Have you had a chance to rewatch it all?
Or not all of it.
Okay.
I have definitely taken a look. It's a little bit
raw.
I
still?
would say. Yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to come down from this cloud, right?
Yeah, it's only been a couple weeks, really, right?
Yeah. I've watched a couple shots, and you kind of catch yourself like, well, what the heck was I thinking? I should have done this. I should have done that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and I'm sure I'll watch it at some point, just to kind of digest it all again. I'm still not done digesting it. So
no, and you were speaking of that, really, probably hard to digest when you're kind of ramping back up really for Shinnecock here in just a month and a half here. And so what does that kind of preparation look like for you? Are you allowed to visit there or two similar to that?
Yeah, so we're trying to finalize getting out to Shinnecock here in the first 2 weeks of May. I'll try to get out. So in my 1 week, I'll try to play at least twice.
Okay.
And they're very accommodating. Like, hey, just let us know when you're coming out. We'll make sure, or not make sure. We'll see what our schedule is, and then we'll accommodate whatever needs to happen. But we're going to go out. My brother and I are going to go out here early, mid-May, and at least play it twice.
Okay.
Kind of get around the grounds, understand. But that's the thing, logistically and, just the travel wise, I understand what that whole week looks like, after being at Augusta. So that's going to be a little bit more comfortable than what it was when I just show up and it's like, okay, well, here I am, or where's the registration table, or, where can I be? When can I be next?
Yeah.
So that's going to be a little bit more comfortable. Not so much like, we don't know what we don't know, right?
Correct. Yep.
And once you're out there and you kind of understand and experience and talk to people, you get a little bit more comfortable. So I'm excited to get out to Shinnecock. I'm excited to kind of see the lay of land. And again, I'm just going to be a little bit more golf shape. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that I'm going to go out and shoot. I'm going to go win the damn thing. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying is, as an Illinois guy, come June, I'm going to have a little bit more rounds under my belt. Don't have to travel to go do it. Hopefully, I mean, with this weather.
Seriously, it's been raining every single day nonstop. It's crazy.
That or down where we are, it's either it's sunny and 85 and blowing 40.
Oh yeah.
Or it's 52 and rainy. So
not great for practicing right now.
No. But I'm taking it all in and enjoying every moment of it for sure.
Well, that's awesome. It's great for my time of film. We filmed a video last week. We did a munchkin challenge where we did alt shot, and for every alt shot we did, we had to eat a munchkin for every thing we did on a score. So we shot a 44 alt shot at one of the local munis. So we were not happy having to eat all those munchkins at the end of it. So if you ever want to come film a fun video, you are more than welcome to do that.
There you go.
So, I guess, and I only about 5 minutes left here as I scheduled for us. Anything else that I know you're at State Farm, I think you're still an employee for. Anything you want to, that you're working for on that end?
No, I'm in real estate.
Okay.
I work for Remax Rising.
I'll cut that out in the other part.
Oh, yeah. No, Remax Rising in Bloomington.
Okay.
And no, State Farm is a sponsor.
Oh, then we'll cut it out then.
Yeah. State Farm's a sponsor. Remax is a sponsor. Callaway, obviously, with all the equipment. Sugarloaf Social Club on the apparel side. And
Very
then
cool.
B Texting is kind of a silent sponsor. They're internal, like corporate text messaging.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So if anybody's out there looking for that, take a look into that because they do a lot of good stuff. But
that's awesome.
Without the sponsors, this whole dream wouldn't be imaginable either. So I appreciate all those guys and one quick story, Kyle, to kind of end it maybe.
Yeah. Perfect.
I'm on 16 on Friday, and 16 tee on Friday, the par 3. So I'm walking up to 16 tee, and I got three little guys over there just begging for a ball, right? And they're not talking to me. They're talking to Bubba. They're talking to Nico. Bubba's obviously multi-winner. Nico's been he's had a hell of a year.
It's a great year this year.
And I'm just kind of walking up there, and they're looking at me because they, the other guys are, they didn't shun them, they just kept walking by,
Mm-hmm.
and I just look at them, I say maybe. So these guys are kind of hitting, and I'm,
Yeah.
we'll purposely went and, I had my dad stand my bag right next to the kids, and
Okay.
I'm talking to them, kind of silently as we were getting ready to hit, and they're like, all right, rock, paper, scissors for a golf ball. So I'm like, all right, maybe.
That's great.
So they, Nico, Bubba hit, and then I hit. Fortunately enough, I hit one to like 5 feet, feeling pretty good.
Hell yeah.
And I was going to do this the whole time. It didn't matter where I was going to hit it. But in the meantime, I go grab 3 balls out of my bag, and I put them in my back pocket. And I said, all right, let's go rock, paper, scissors. I said, this is going to be bad for you, though. And he says, why is that? And I said, because I don't lose rock, paper, scissors, right? So here we go, rock, paper, scissors on the 16th tee at Augusta. He throws the paper. I threw scissors. And I was like, dang, man, I told you I don't lose. So I start walking away. These kids were so bummed. And I pulled the 3 balls out of my back pocket and threw it at them.
Oh,
and
my God.
they went wild. The crowd went wild. It was just a surreal moment that, I have been one of those kids before.
Yeah.
Asking for that autograph or that, high five. So that was just fun. The interaction with the fans, the kids it was great. And I hope the same with the U.S. Open. I hope we can continue to do that too, which I don't see why we wouldn't. But
yeah, that's awesome. That's a great story. I'm sure you made 3 little fans for the entire life. That their day was already amazing, but they're gonna have those balls for the rest of their life, on a shelf somewhere. Sure. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast today. I would love to, have great luck at Shinnecock Hills. Would love to talk to you after that. But overall, great luck, and hopefully enjoy some golf as we hopefully get in some nice weather here in Illinois.
Perfect. I appreciate you having me on, Kyle. And yeah, you bet. Anything you need, buddy, just let me know.
Sounds good. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Oh, whoop. All right. Welcome back. So you guys just finished interview with Brandon Holtz. Shout out. That was a fantastic interview. Very interested to hear about the Augusta. I read the initial stat. I wrote down, you had 5 practice rounds at Augusta. Not that he got to go to Augusta 5 times and had to spend the entire day. He said he had lunch there and then went out afternoon. And very, very cool to hear about his family and how he was his family first in the bag, his dad, and then now his brother, and going into Shinnecock. Too cool. Brandon seems like a absolutely fantastic guy, the people's golfer. So shout out, everyone. Would be great to get him some support going to the U.S. Open. I know he has my full let's go, and I will be trying to put him, maybe locking him into a can he make the cut parlay, people, and we'll win some money for you guys. So Truist. We are at Quail Hollow this week. I mean, a course the PGA Tour never goes to. I mean, we don't do anything at Quail Hollow. It's crazy. It's why don't they go to Quail Hollow more often? Quail Hollow is probably the most. They should just change the name to PGA Tour Hollow or Quail PGA Tour or Quail Tour. I think they go to Quail Hollow 4 or 5 times a year. They play 4 or 5 majors there. It seems like every other year. It seems like they are in love with Quail Hollow. The membership must not give a shit. They must all be 1,000 years old, and they must say, yeah, who gives a shit if we shut the course down for a year? Because they had the PGA Championship. I mean, I swear they play there twice a year, it seems like. But I mean, Rory loves Quail Hollow. Rory's won there 4 times. And if you're saying, hey, this week, hey, I can't wait to see Rory and Scotty play. Well, yeah, neither can I. That's not going to happen. If you want people to play, you're crazy. If you want the best players in the world to play at the same time, you're crazy. You're crazy if you want that to happen. It's like, if you want that to happen, the PGA Tour should raise a couple events that are heightened, so that the heightened events let you know that all the players will be in the field, right? That would be super cool. Fuck you, Rory, you fucking idiot, and fucking Scotty skipping events. It pisses me off. Playing the fucking elevated events. Skip fucking Myrtle Beach. I don't give a shit. Play in the fucking elevator. I want to watch you guys fucking play each other in golf. You guys do anything with my fucking board if you guys don't play each other. It really does not make this the strongest field in golf, and only half the guys are in these elevated event fields. Pisses me off. Play golf. What the fuck are you doing? It's May. Cool, you're getting ready for the PGA Championship. Cool. Play on the tour that you're being paid millions to be on. So that's a little anger there you guys got to see. Rory loves this course, like I said, has won there 4 times in the past. So I mean, it'd be a dumb money to not pick Rory. Especially looking a bit more into the data golf side of it. This course, three of the last 4 years, this course is the winners have favored all heavy bombers. Okay, guys that absolutely nuke the golf ball, not only off the tee boxes, but hit their long irons well. Right, they call it the Green Mile, which is a finishing stretch of the PGA Championship. It rewards good drives and it rewards great long irons. Right, so who are those guys? You're going to have Rory and Cameron Young, right? So my picks are not going to be that crazy this week, because I think you're going to have your Quail Hollow. We have enough data at Quail Hollow to know who wins at Quail Hollow. And if there's a chance that it ends up not like that, and there's a real chance that happens. But this is kind of the final tune-up before the PGA Championship in the next couple weeks. So we will definitely get a good idea of who is going to be there. I think a lot of the guys, at least the big guys, are skipping Myrtle the exact week before. I would imagine are going to be at Aramac getting ready. But we will have an answer. We will have a fight at least between Cameron Young, and my boy Matt Fitzpatrick. So is Cam going to hold that spot? If Fitzy finishes 3 spots above him, I don't think he's going to lose it. If Fitzy wins and Cam finishes not even anywhere close, if they play head-to-head and he beats him, Fitzy has a very chance to get back number 3. And if Rory gets cut, he has a very chance of losing number 1, honestly, to Scotty. Because Scotty's finished T2 here, so it's not like he's playing bad. And now a lot of people would say, hey, Scotty should be 1 right now. Well, you win the Masters, you get to be number 1. And then Xander. So, Xander's number 8 right now, right? Xander, I think, has a good chance to jump this week, right? Especially with Morikawa and Fleetwood. You can make the answer that he should already. Maybe Morikawa should drop down more. But Rory didn't do that this week. And I don't really think about that, so that's fully honest. That's why I'll be fully honest. I didn't think about that until right now. Maybe he should have. So we will see next week. Xander might move up there. Getting to my picks, I honestly, homer picks from me this week. Their lines were not published yet, but we are going to have Mr. Rory McIlroy to win. We have Cam Young, top 5. Top 20, Thomas Fleetwood. Top 20, Big Bob, Robert McIntyre. So nothing crazy this week. Again, a no cut week, so no to make the cut parlay. That will be back. Actually, we will be back on that next podcast talking about that, but before Myrtle Beach. And that is that. That is the PGA Tour. But let's get into my current. This essentially is just a male. It's male Bravo right now. It's just the LIV Golf downfall. The LIV Golf current implosion. We're watching this tower just tumble. Just one block. It seems like someone is just taking a block and just walking by and just pushing a block, and then 5 more blocks start to fall. Right. And then it's you don't hear anything, and then it's another block gets pushed out, and then 5 more blocks fall down. So in the last week, LIV Golf pulls out of TPC Louisiana. Just this crazy letter that claimed it was due to the hot weather, and that it needs to be in the fall, and that the time slot is not great for the sports schedule, and the current standing in June, but it's going to be great up against in the fall up against football when there's not a live event. Okay, cool. Do what you know what I mean? It is what it is. You guys are crazy. You guys do crazy things. Don't expect a crazy person not to do crazy things. So what? It is what it is. I'm sure to be more to come out of that. Like I'm gonna guess every decision that happens in the entire world, it's due to financials. So we'll see that comes out. That wasn't what they said. They said it was because due to the hot weather in Louisiana, which may have come as a surprise that it was gonna be hot in Louisiana in June, which maybe caught them off surprise. Maybe they thought it was like. Maybe they thought, maybe they're just not good at geography. Maybe they thought Louisiana was Indianapolis. They're like, oh, it's going to be, Indianapolis is hot in June too, right? Honestly, anywhere they're going in the United States is going to be pretty hot in June. But honestly, you go to Chicago, it's not going to be overwhelming. It's not going to be like a swamp like Louisiana is in June. So interesting to hear that. I mean, I think we have more fallout. I mean, I think this week they're playing in Virginia. I think they're playing at Trump Bedminster in Virginia. So they're definitely going to have. I would imagine there would be some more journalists at this one rather than where they've been. I think they were in South Korea last time when the news broke, and they had some reporting. I would imagine, hopefully, you're in D.C. I'm sure you're going to have Washington Post. You're going to have major journalists trying to crack some stories about LIV when they're in town this week. So, I would expect some people to be going out to dinners and maybe saying some stuff off the record, and then maybe a great article coming out in the next week about, man, this LIV exec did what? This shit did, it's going to be interesting. So, it's my current Bravo show. Is the LIV Golf Implosion. It makes great podcast fodder of every week. We just have something new to talk about, new drama. And we will continue having that because we will see where some of these guys start falling off and what some of these penalties are, which I think is going to be very, very interesting. They have very much claimed that the guys that have sued the tour have got penalties. They have very strict penalties. The Brysons, the Ian Poulters of the world, the Graham McDowells of the world, the Justin Johnsons of the world are going to be having very, very strict penalties for this lawsuit against the PGA Tour. And I think the John Rahms, Tyrell Hattons should have even a larger duty because PGA Tour at that time was kind of a on the ice. They were skating. They seemed like they had one skate in, but they would flop, and then John Rahm went there after the frameworks were announced, thinking that he was some Jesus character to bring the PGA Tour and LIV together. That happens, and now he sucks at golf. So, great job, John. Great movement of your career there. And he should not be rewarded with just a welcome back thing for the PGA Tour after what the way that he left and the way that he thought he was going out, which was absolutely insane. So, John and some of these guys that left, they didn't have the balls to leave when everyone else left in the beginning. They wanted to dip their toe in and then make sure no one hates them. That should be a way bigger penalty. That it is what it is. You can't, if you're at least have the balls to go and start it off, have the balls like Bryson did to go and Brooks did, right? Don't wait for it and then come a year later after you see, make sure it's not really that bad. People don't hate us that much. We're like, yeah, John, we do. Okay? So, good luck. And believe me, you'll gain a fan back when you're at Q School and you're playing the Corn Ferry Tour. I'll be a fan again. But we're not opening. This isn't a welcome back and hugs and kisses. Earn your fucking way back after you kind of dropped a grenade in the PGA Tour and fucked off. So that's my thoughts on LIV, and we will continue to talk about it because I love it. It's just drama for me. It's just a cannon fodder. MLB, Cubbies playing some ball. last week when we were on the podcast where our record was 17-11. We have lost one game since last time. We are now 22-12. First place in the NL Central. Playing some great ball. And then playing some great ball in an absolute banana of a division where everybody is good. You're in May, and there is not a team under 500 in the NL Central. Everyone can't make this. It's impossible that everyone makes the playoffs. That physically can't happen. But we're very much trending to the way that's like we're just going to have the entire Central as a playoff team. So that is a great one. Kind of, had shaky game versus the Dodgers, right? I think we lost 2 of 3 to the Dodgers. But, I mean, if that very well could be the NL Championship Series right there, Cubs-Dodgers, right? So I can't be that mad about that. Pulled 2 of 3 from the Padres, which the Padres, another absolutely fantastic team, right? Tatis is just a freaking weapon. Made an absolutely great diving catch one of the other, I think maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Great diving catch. But bats are coming a little bit alive. Took 2 of 3 from the Padres, like I said, and then we swept the D-backs over the weekend. Bats are coming alive. Bullpen has been really good and then with some injuries too, right? And same thing with injuries to the pitching staff, right? I think Steele was announced this week that Steele is going to be still down on the 60-day DL. He was supposed to kind of come back, and obviously down Cade Horton still too. So, still smiley face, and we will be tracking those. Shogo's pitching well, and same thing with Haps leading the team in home runs, and then Honer's leading in RBI. So, the boys are playing well right now. So, good to see. That has been very fun to watch the Cubbies as we get more into summer here. They're playing good ball and still in some very, very questionable Chicago weather. And they're playing some good baseball still. So, we will see that continue this year. I just still love them for playoff and making a playoff run, especially as they get healthy. Maybe even trade. And now, obviously down Cade Horton. And if we're pushing the chips in this year, I would love to see us maybe trade for a pitcher come to the deadline. And there's one pitcher. I mean, there's no way that he gets dealt. But if Skeens gets dealt, I will go fucking banana land. I will. I don't know what I'll do. If Skeens gets dealt to the Cubs, I will go fucking banana land. I'm putting that in the atmosphere right now. I don't expect it to happen because he's probably going to get signed. But he might. If they're not going to sign him, they might as well trade him. But I think this is last year's contract. So you might as well trade Skeens before he walks and you get nothing. But we'll take him for the rest of the year. And then we'll pay him a fuck ton of money. But the Dodgers are going to do that, so it doesn't really matter. Kentucky Derby. None of my picks won, so that sucked. I have a friend that is what they would call a genius in Kentucky Derby, and she did not want to do either. She did not do well either. So not our Derby. We'll be back for the Preakness, I think is next. Maybe, I don't know until it happens. I'm one of those people that follows horse racing until I turn it on, and when it's on, it's great. But great win by Golden Tiempo. If you have not seen the clip, pause this right now and watch Golden Tiempo's run at the Kentucky Derby this year. I mean, legitimately in last place in the last, I think quarter mile or quarter stretch. I think the whole race was a quarter mile. The last stretch around the last turn, and literally turns on these insane afterburners, kind of does a little dodge maneuver, and just beats the entire track on the outside. Runs probably a good, if we're doing her like stat track and think where she ran, how many miles she ran compared to everyone else like the NFL does, her path to the touchdown was insane. Wins out race, great win, and then you even found out after she won, it was the first ever female trainer and the first ever female fully backed team that won. which was awesome for the sport, awesome for the kind of the shattering the ceiling that's going to do for, I'm sure, many other female trainers. I'm going to mess up her name, so I very much apologize. I think it's Cherie Devon. So I feel bad for messing up her name. But first ever female trainer, great win by Golden Tampa. I don't know if they're racing her again. I don't know what the plan is for that, or if they're just letting her fuck away for the next million years and making a bunch of money on it. Wouldn't be surprised if they did that, because that's what I would do. So shout out Kentucky Derby, great. Always the Kentucky Derby is always fun. It kind of feels like the unofficial start to summer. And this weekend was always great. It was like one of the last couple weekends of college always too. Was like I think there's like maybe 2 or 3, maybe 2 weeks of finals. I think this was like maybe it was this week. I think always went into dead week for us, which was like there was like some of your classes pretty much were like, hey, this is right before finals. Final papers are due. This is kind of a boring week. And then really kind of everyone study for finals. So this was always it always felt like, kind of summer kicks off. I know in college it was that Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Pacquiao fight was this weekend. I think the McGregor fight was one of the years was this weekend. So always going back, this has always felt like this is the Derby weekend. We got NBA playoffs. We always got game 7s, it feels like. And then we go and we have an NHL playoffs too. So right into that. And, going in, very touchily quick on the NBA playoffs, because that will be my crumb bum of the week this week. Spoiler alert. I don't watch a ton of NBA, right? Hand up, right? I don't watch a ton of NBA, and I will blame that a ton on Jerry Reinsdorf and what he's done and his greedy son of a bitch, and does not allow you have to pay fucking $1 million a month to watch their teams. I'm not paying $40 a month to watch the Hawks and the Bulls. I'm just simply not doing that. I'm poor already, and I have to. I'll pay that for the Cubs. I'll pay that for all the stupid golf I have to, channels. I'm not paying $40 more to watch the Bulls. I'll stream some of the games if I can. I'll shout out Pirates Life for me. But I just I more like. It's more, I would say, I'm a watcher of the NBA, where it's like, I'm kind of like, I got my binoculars, and I'm like, I actively knowing maybe what's kind of going on, just pretty much from listening to part of my take, listening to podcasts, they kind of talk about it enough, so I kind of know what's going on enough, but I also don't really know what's going on in a very real sense. I have no idea what's going on, but I'm finding it hard to root against LeBron at this point. I'm obviously from Chicago. I've been one of the bigger LeBron haters coming up, but at this rate, what he's done and how the longevity he's done it, him getting into golf has little to nothing, has everything to do with my thoughts on him changing. The fact that he's played with Bob Sports just a month ago. And then had the Bob Sports crew out of the game. You know what? You're fine. I'll come out. That made me like LeBron. Okay? He was friends with he likes the people that I like. Sue me. Okay? So I kind of want to see him win again, because I think he would just be cool. He's old. He obviously has I think there was some of the guys on his team that if he was get past the first round, I think Luke was able to come back from injury. So we'll see. I'm kind of rooting for him at this point to have a good finish it out, and for the Lakers to win another championship. Celtics blew a 3-1 series lead to the Philadelphia 76ers. Tough from the Celtics. We're gonna get into crumb bun territory, people. Okay? And you might be thinking, hey, he's going to give the Crumb Bum Award this week to the Boston Celtics. That's a little crazy. not only does the Boston Celtics get the crumb bum of the week, the entire state of Boston sports teams gets the crumb bum of the week this week, okay? I don't have a prepared statement. I was supposed to have a prepared statement. I do not have a prepared statement. But I have a Boston fan that was very upset. And shout out Brian. This is for you, Brian. The crumb bum of the week is the Boston sports teams, okay? Celtics blowing a 3-1 series lead. The Bruins losing in the first round of the NHL playoffs. The Red Sox are an absolute dumpster fire right now. Fired their manager. I think they're in last place. They've won 9 games. They're sad, right? And they don't have a lot of hope, right? When Mookie Betts is leaving for the Dodgers and one of your best assets, that your homegrown assets, is leaving, you're not in a good spot. And then just the icing on the cake is there's a good chance the Patriots coach is going to be fired for banging Diana Rossini. I don't know why, but that story is not stopping, okay? So these stories, and mark my words, it seems like these stories, it's like if it's just one of those things, if it's just, hey, these people are hooking up, it seems like they kind of fiddle out, right? But this one has legs, and I think whenever it has legs, there's something else that was going on. And it's now coming out that it was going on for a lot longer. It was going on, and it just seems like this may lead. And when the entire team needs to come out expressing support for their head coach, it's like for what? For what are you expressing? Mac Jones? What are you expressing support for? What? Because he cheated on his wife and his family? Is that what it is? Is it true then? Right? Because everyone else has been denying it. Is that we're expressing support because the reports are false? What are we expressing sympathy for? I would simply like to know. But Boston sports teams are in an absolute free fall. And now, you can say you're throwing glass houses from, throwing rocks from a glass house. Hey, we have Caleb Williams. You don't have Caleb Williams. We have Alex Bregman. You don't have Alex Bregman. Nope. No, you don't. You don't have Connor Bedard. We have Connor Bedard. Both don't count. So, I don't have a glass house. I would say I'm throwing stones from a semi-concrete that hasn't cured yet house. I think that's probably pretty accurate. I'm not a glass house, but you can definitely hit this house. And, it may make a little dent, but that dent may harden very, very soon. And it's going to harden. And when that dent hardens very, very soon, you better watch the fuck out. Because my house is going to come at you. It's going to get up legs. And it's going to remember that you threw a fucking rock at it, okay? And my house is going to come for your ass. Because it's not a fan of people throwing rocks at it, okay? So you fucking throw rocks at me. But you just wait, people. You just wait. So, shout out Boston Sports Team Crumb Bum of the Week. We will get down to the movie of the week. And you're saying, Kyle, you're being a little crazy right now, okay? You're looking like a psychopath. And yeah, okay? And it's because I watched I don't know how I missed this movie. Hand up, all right? Hand up. I'm not afraid. I'm not a man enough to admit it, right? All heart, shout out Big John. I don't know how I missed this movie. This movie came out a while ago, okay? No Country for Old Men. Younger Josh Brolin, Tommy Lee Jones, and then the dude that played the Psycho. Fantastic movie. Absolutely fan-fucking-tastic. Josh Brolin is amazing in this movie, okay? And then the guy that plays the Psycho, which I don't know his name, and I don't want to look it up because I'm scared of him. But that guy might be the craziest person on the planet of Earth. I'm not sure there's a crazier guy, or that maybe you can play a crazier guy, which you might be crazy if you can play that crazy of a guy. There's a scene where he chokes out this top with the things, and he's like doing it with this like weird ass smile on his face, and he kills people with like this gun, and he like, not a gun, but it's like a cattle prod that just like shoots a quick little it's not a stick, like a rod. It's like it shoots a little rod and then comes back to kill cattle. This is what he uses to kill people. I mean, not a bad idea. Pretty silent. I wonder if it's fucked up that people don't know. I'm not asking that people don't know why people actually did that, but gangs probably did that because they're fucked up. But he played a great crazy person, and it's very simple story, which is even awesome, right? Some of these movies, like, we don't need some crazy plot for it to be awesome, right? You know, the first movie we reviewed, Project Hail Mary, had a crazy plot. And it was awesome. This movie is much simpler, right? A guy that's in the West finds money. Okay? Now, you ask, is it drug money? Yes, it's drug money, right? And then the scene is pretty much him trying to keep the money and not die is the rest of the movie, okay? Great, just very simple plot. Awesome movie. 9 out of 10. If you have not yet seen No Country for Old Men, which came out, I think, in 2001, maybe it was later than that. It might have been 2011. See No Country for Old Men. Fantastic movie. I think it was free on YouTube right now. That's how I saw it. But I was always one of those that I was like, oh yeah, I think I've heard of that. I love Josh Brolin. You know, shout out Thanos. So I was like, hey, I should really give that a watch, and I'm glad I did, because that is great. Great movie. And I think I did see something online that, like, who is the best psychopath of all time? And it was like that American Psycho guy. Then I think this guy was number 2. And I was like, yeah, no, that makes sense now. I fully get that now. So, great movie. See that. Definitely, if you have not. And people, we may have entered the after show. Okay. That's all everything I highlighted in my document. We are now in the after show. After show topics, nothing in particular. Remember, it's the after show. So technically it's not part of the show right now. The cameras are off. This is just me talking. But remember, if you guys are still watching, please put a comment in there. Please like. And if you are watching at this rate and you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. If you're still watching an hour and a half into this podcast, if you are listening on Spotify right now or Apple Podcast, please, you guys do not understand how much it does for my life clicking those buttons, right? And I've always been on the other side of that, and I've been like, oh God, how much it matters to my existence to put food on my table and bread in my mouth when you just clicking those buttons if you're not watching, right? It says 80%, 90% of people that watch and listen to this podcast are not subscribed. Just please click those buttons. If you are subscribed, please click comment. Please click like. It does a ton for the algorithm. But that is the show. Thank you guys very much for watching. We're a long show here. We're going to be almost 2 hours. Like I said, I apologize. I want these to be shorter. You don't want to hear me listening to me talk this wrong. I don't want to listen to myself talk this wrong. I have to edit this now and listen to myself talk for a long time. I don't want to do that. But there's a lot to talk about. So, there should be less that happens. So shout out events, shout out things, shout out places, shout out people. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.